South Cambridgeshire MP Heidi Allen has told us she's going to stand for the new position of Mayor for Cambridgeshire and Peterborough. Theresa May, the Prime Minister, has given her consent for Heidi Allen to do both roles at the same time if she's elected, so this has gone straight to the top. Heidi is expected to be the official Conservative candidate when the elections are held in May. The new role is being created by the government to give devolution to our area, so the Mayor will help decide key issues like spending, housing and infrastructure. Heidi Allen spoke to BBC Radio Cambridgeshire's Chris Mann for The Breakfast Show. He asked if she could give both roles the time they needed.
That's been one of the biggest considerations to me. An awful lot of people have approached me about the role of Mayor, and that was my concern because I very much enjoy what I do as the MP for South Cambridge, and I believe I've had a reasonably powerful national voice already, particularly on areas of welfare and disability, etc. And the good news is that at least until the next election, I have the blessing, if you like, of the Prime Minister to do both roles, in the same way that Boris, when he was Mayor of London, actually for a crossover period, was able to do both. And you know, so many of the issues facing South Cambridgeshire about infrastructure, skills and housing, that's what the devolution deal is. So I feel that I'll be well placed to do both roles.
So you've talked to the very highest people in your own party to seek permission to have this rather special dual role, if it works out that way.
That's right, absolutely. Yes, I started with Sajid Javid, who's the Secretary of State for Local Government, of course, the one responsible for these devolution deals. Then I spoke to the party chairman, Patrick McLaughlin, the Chief Whip, Gavin Williamson, and then worked my way up to the Prime Minister because, of course, it was important that I had her support.
Have you asked your own constituency? Because, of course, you represent people in this county.
Yes, I've spoken to my association chairman, Bill Potter, and shared it with the rest of our association. And because they recognise the challenges facing this county are huge, this is an absolute once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, this devolution deal, to really make a step change in the future prosperity for our region. They realise how important it is, and they're as delighted for me as I am that I'm being given this very special privilege of being able to offer myself in both roles, because it is too important to get wrong.
You mentioned Boris Johnson, who combined being an MP with being Mayor of London. Of course, it's worked out for him because he's Foreign Secretary now, but got much criticism, attacked by his opponents and by the media because of attempting to do these two roles. Are you ready for that criticism?
Yes, I am, and I expect it. But as I say, I do feel comfortable. You know, I have to be able to look at myself in the mirror and think, am I going to do a good job for the people of Cambridgeshire? There are so many things, you know, the progress on the A14, the A428, a station at Addenbrooks, the development of housing, the need to get affordable housing, linking Peterborough, linking East Cambs. So much of that comes into my role now that I feel comfortable that I can do both.
But if it's such a big role and there's so many important things, how can you combine that with being an MP, which is supposed to be a full-time job on its own?
It is indeed, but like anybody who does a big job, and they always say, don't they, if you want something done, ask a busy person. But with any big job, you need really good teams behind you, and I have a phenomenal team who support me for South Cambridgeshire. Many of the issues, as I mentioned, overlap. I'll need a new team, potentially, of course, if I'm selected, and then elected, because none of that is a given by any means. I need a very good team behind me. And it is a chairwoman role, the mayor role, that you are sitting on top, this combined authority, with all the skills and the expertise of the council leaders beneath you. So it's about pulling together strategy, less perhaps of a detailed individual constituent role as an MP is. So it's the best of both worlds. It's strategic and it's using my local knowledge and my constituency role. And I actually think the two will fit together very well.
Can it be a coincidence that the Conservative Party have apparently given you permission the day after a by-election, which there was a huge swing to the Liberal Democrats? The party doesn't want any more by-elections, does it?
No, you're right. And I did wonder that myself, actually, because I did get the OK from the Prime Minister the day after. I don't think, even if the result had been positive for Zach, and just on a personal note, I'm sorry that Zach's gone. He was a brilliant MP and a real trailblazer, actually, MP in the House of Commons. But I think regardless, I didn't want to give up being an MP. I love being an MP, and the fact that I've been able to, I hope, represent my constituents well, and I will absolutely continue to do that. But, you are right, a by-election is never a good thing.
And you've just picked up an award for your work as one of the best new MPs in the Conservative Party this week. So will that not suffer if you're deflected to doing other things?
No, not at all. I mean, the award, which I still can't quite believe I was lucky enough to get, was for Newcomer Conservative MP of the Year, because it shows, I think, my ability to reach out to communities that don't have voices and to coordinate people's needs and hear their concerns. And I still will do that. The mayoral role is a strategic role that sits on top of that. And yes, I will, as an MP, worry about my own constituents in South Cambs. But I think anybody listening to this will know that for the county, we have got to get better at pulling ourselves together and coming up with a strategy for housing, skills and transport. And I know I can do that.
That is Heidi Allen, the Conservative MP for South Cambridgeshire.